Picture this: $1 million supercar screaming down the highway at nearly 200 miles per hour. Dozens of police cruisers in pursuit, spike strips failing, helicopters struggling to keep up, and a driver who refuses to stop. This is the story of the most insane supercar police chase ever recorded in America. A chase so wild, so unbelievable, that it changed how law enforcement handles high-speed pursuits forever. I'm talking about speeds that would make Formula One drivers nervous, maneuvers that defy physics, and a suspect who turned a public highway into his personal racetrack. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear is absolutely crazy. Let's start with the machine at the center of this chaos: a 2003 Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. This isn't just any sports car. This is a beast engineered by two of the most legendary names in automotive history. Under that long, aggressive hood sits a supercharged 5.4-liter V8, producing 617 horsepower. 0 to 60, 3.4 seconds. Top speed? 208 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, most police interceptors max out around 130 to 150 miles per hour. This car could literally leave them in the dust on a straightaway. It was built for the German Autobahn, where speed limits don't exist. And on this day, someone was about to test those limits on American soil. The man behind the wheel was a wealthy individual with a taste for expensive toys and apparently a serious disregard for the law. Reports suggested he had been involved in reckless driving incidents before, but nothing like what was about to unfold. It started innocuously enough. A California Highway Patrol officer noticed the silver SLR weaving through traffic at excessive speeds on Interstate 5. He flipped on his lights and siren, expecting a routine traffic stop. What he got instead was the beginning of a nightmare that would span multiple counties and involve dozens of law enforcement agencies. The driver glanced in his rearview mirror, saw the flashing lights, and made a decision that would make headlines across the nation. Instead of pulling over, he downshifted and hammered the accelerator. The SLR's exhaust note went from a purr to an angry roar, and the chase was on. Within seconds, the Mercedes was doing over 100 miles per hour, then 120, then 140. The CHP officer radioed for backup, his own patrol car struggling to keep pace. On the open highway, the SLR was hitting speeds estimated at 190 miles per hour. Witnesses reported seeing nothing but a silver blur. At these speeds, everything becomes exponentially more dangerous. Reaction time is measured in fractions of a second. A slight steering input can send the car into an uncontrollable spin. Road debris that would normally be a minor inconvenience becomes a potentially deadly projectile. This wasn't just reckless, it was suicidal. Law enforcement quickly realized they had a serious problem. Their standard pursuit vehicles couldn't keep up. They scrambled helicopters to track from above, which became the primary way to monitor the suspect's location. Officers on the ground tried to set up roadblocks ahead of the chase, but the Mercedes was moving so fast that by the time they positioned themselves, the car had already blown past. Multiple agencies got involved. CHP called in local sheriff's departments. Sheriff's departments coordinated with city police. Everyone was trying to figure out how to stop a car that was faster than anything they had. Officers deployed spike strips, those tire-shredding devices that are supposed to end pursuits by deflating the suspect's tires. They laid them across the highway at strategic points. The Mercedes hit them at over 100 miles per hour and kept going. High-performance tires, especially on a car like the SLR, are built differently. They're reinforced with multiple layers of steel and Kevlar. Even punctured, they can run for several miles. The spike strips that would have stopped a regular car barely slowed this beast down. The driver didn't even seem to notice. This is where the chase went from dangerous to absolutely terrifying. The suspect began weaving through traffic at insane speeds. Cars pulled to the side of the road, drivers watching in disbelief as the supercar rocketed past, with a parade of police vehicles trailing behind. There were multiple close calls. The Mercedes missed one semi-truck, by what witnesses estimated was less than a foot, threading the needle between vehicles at 150 miles per hour. One wrong move, 1 second of hesitation, and this would have become a mass casualty event. The chase covered over 100 miles of California highway. It crossed county lines multiple times. At one point, the suspect even circled back on his route, passing the same landmarks twice, as if taunting the officers pursuing him. Helicopter fuel became a concern as news choppers joined police helicopters in the air, broadcasting this insanity live to millions of viewers. Even the best drivers make mistakes, and even the most powerful cars eventually run out of gas. After more than an hour of high-speed chaos, the Mercedes began to slow. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Officers watching from helicopters saw the car's speed drop from 150 to 130, then to 110. The suspect had another problem. Traffic was getting heavier as the chase moved into more populated areas. The open highway that had allowed him to reach those insane speeds was disappearing. He was running out of road. With the car finally at a more manageable speed, officers decided to attempt a PIT maneuver. That technique, where police tap the rear quarter panel of a fleeing vehicle to spin it out. But even at reduced speed, the SLR was still traveling faster than the recommended speed for this maneuver. The first attempt failed. The Mercedes was too heavy, too stable, and still too fast. The second attempt caused the car to wobble, but not spin. The driver corrected and kept going. What finally ended the chase wasn't a spike strip, or a pit maneuver, or a roadblock. It was the most anticlimactic ending possible. The Mercedes simply ran out of gas. The engine sputtered, coughed, and died. The car coasted to a stop on the shoulder of the highway. A dozen police cars surrounded the vehicle within seconds, officers approaching with weapons drawn. The driver, who had just completed one of the most dangerous pursuits in American history, stepped out with his hands up. He didn't resist. He didn't run. He simply surrendered, as if he'd just finished a Sunday drive. The driver was arrested and faced a mountain of charges: felony evading, reckless endangerment, assault with a deadly weapon, the car, and dozens of traffic violations. His bail was set astronomically high. The Mercedes was impounded, and he would never see it again. But the real aftermath was in how this chase changed law enforcement policy across the country. This chase became a case study in police academies nationwide. It exposed the limitations of traditional pursuit tactics when facing modern supercars. Some departments began advocating for disengagement policies, arguing that no pursuit is worth the risk to public safety. Others pushed for investment in faster police vehicles and better technology like GPS tracking and tire deflation systems designed specifically for high-performance cars. The incident also sparked a conversation about wealthy thrill-seekers who treat public roads like their personal playgrounds. This wasn't a desperate criminal trying to escape. This was someone with the means to take their car to a professional racetrack who instead chose to endanger hundreds of innocent people. Let's recap the insanity. Over 100 miles of pursuit. Speeds exceeding 190 miles per hour. Multiple spike strip failures. Dozens of law enforcement vehicles involved. And miraculously, 0 fatalities. The only reason this didn't end in tragedy was pure luck. This chase represents everything wrong with high-speed pursuits and everything dangerous about putting unlimited power in the hands of someone with no regard for consequences. The Mercedes SLR McLaren is an engineering marvel, a testament to what human ingenuity can create when pushing the boundaries of automotive performance. But on that day in California, it became something else entirely. A weapon capable of mass destruction, piloted by someone who confused a highway with a racetrack. To this day, this remains one of the most discussed police chases in American history. Footage from the helicopters has been viewed millions of times online. Law enforcement officials still reference it when discussing pursuit policies, and somewhere in an impound lot, that silver Mercedes sits as a reminder of the day someone tried to outrun the law in a $1 million supercar. And the craziest part? They almost succeeded. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales of automotive mayhem. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's the craziest chase you've ever heard of? And should police even pursue supercars at all, or is it too dangerous? Until next time, stay safe out there. And remember, no matter how fast your car is, you can't outrun the radio.